Welcome to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome inside the KDKA studios as we welcome you to the start of another football season and the unpredictability of the NFL in full view today. Bob Pompeani, Chris Hoke, it's HokeyBro76, KD Pomp, if you want to tweet. We're here for the next couple of hours talking about this game. A win. Chris Hoke at halftime, it seemed like there was no way. However, that defense did a great job of keeping this team in the game, even though they gave up a touchdown at the end of the first half. 10 points when it felt like it should have been 21-0 Buffalo.
It should have been 21-0. Really, it did. And you look at the first half and the second half, the defense played well throughout, right? Constant pressure on Josh Allen throughout this game. The defensive backs were really pressuring those wide receivers and combating those throws. But you got to give it to the offense, Bob. The offense in the second half, they made adjustments and they were able to move the ball. They still weren't thriving and they still weren't running on all cylinders, but they were able to make plays and score on every single drive in that second half.
They really did. Boy, you talk about T.J. Watt. We've talked about him all season, or all week long, I should say, all off-season long. He got his deal done. But, man, he looked like he never missed a beat here. He came in with a couple of sacks right off the bat, a strip sack, which did not result in points. He and Cam Heyward, I thought early on, were the two most dominant players on the field in this game.
Well, there's no question about it. And Cam Heyward, we're coming to understand that he does this every single week. And he was, whether it was recovering a fumble, whether it was forcing a fumble, whether it was getting a sack, batting passes, he was all over the field today. And he is a monster to try to move in the middle of that defensive line when they're running the ball. He was just tough at the point of attack, moving down the line, making tackles everywhere, Bob.
Yeah, and a lot of young guys came up. I thought James Pierre played well in the second half, especially. Cam Sutton was all over the place, too. And I have to mention this because I think Buffalo, for as much as we look at it from this point of view and say, well, the Steeler offensive line was they were in the first half. They got a lot of young guys. Buffalo, for a sexy pick to win a Super Bowl, did not look very good today. Josh Allen looked off his mark. I thought their offensive line had their share of problems. They were holding the Steelers many more times than what was called. It was a tough day for their offensive line.
Last year, these Buffalo Bills only lost one game at home, and that was against the Kansas City Chiefs. They've lost one this year in week one. And you think about Josh Allen was under pressure from the very first snap. Melvin Ingram was on him on that first play, and they got a holding penalty when he was grabbing Josh Allen in that series. I mean, one play after another, he was under attack. He was forcing balls into receivers where there was no daylight. I mean, this defense got after this offense that really, they were saying was the number one offense in the NFL, arguably.
Yeah, it was, and we'll see. Bottom line is the Steelers get a big win, and they're off to a 1-0 start at a place that not many people thought they would, given what Buffalo was last year. We have plenty of stuff coming up here. We're going to take a break. We have post-game reaction. Rich Walsh will join us. We're going to take you inside the locker room, and then we're going to take your calls as well on a special edition of the Sports Call. 23-16, your final score. The Steelers buck the odds, and the point spread. They go into Buffalo and come away with their first win of the season. We debate it next, right here on Pittsburgh CW.
Welcome back to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
Welcome back, everyone. Bob Pompeani along with Chris Hoke and you. And we're going to talk about a key part of this game because it happened second half, Buffalo up 10-6. One of the most ridiculous play calls I've seen, and it would have gone both ways. 4th and 1 for Buffalo. They pass it backwards. Cam Sutton makes a beautiful play. That allows the Steelers to go on a short field, and it results in a touchdown to Diontae Johnson, who left this game earlier with an injury. Chris, but man, what a play in the end zone to get that. Great footwork.
A great footwork, and listen, what concentration. When the DB sat there and he tipped the ball, Diontae Johnson was able to bobble it, catch it, and get his feet down, both feet down. He dragged that back foot, just let it go dead. Beautiful play. And, we've been accustomed to Diontae Johnson last year dropping balls. So it's so comforting to see him catching a ball like this, Bob, and being concentrating in every single moment.
Yeah, he was. He didn't drop anything. He caught everything in his way, and then he got his 2 feet down. It didn't look that way in fast motion.
Yeah.
That official made a nice call on the play. That made it 13-10 Steelers with their first lead. And then, inspired by their offense, their defense gets a 3 and out. It results in a punt. And what happens on that? Miles Killebrew comes right up, blocks something. We haven't seen that in a long time. And then Ulysses Gilbert picks it up for the instant points. Boy, what a turning point.
Just a great design and call by Coach Danny Smith, right? You shot Killebrew inside. You looped around the left side tackle, and he comes right up the middle and blocks that punt. And then Ulysses Gilbert right there. Everybody's flying, picks it up, and runs it in. And now it went from a 1-score game, 13-10, to a 2-score game. And from there, the Bills could not recover.
No, and then it was just a question of Ben Roethlisberger navigating through. You know, Najee Harris was more of a factor in the second half, and I would imagine as time goes on, he's going to be the guy. When they get a lead, they're going to give him the ball. He had that 18-yard run that set up the Diontae Johnson touchdown, but also some pinpoint passing. The one from Roethlisberger to Claypool, which was huge, and it gave him a new set of downs. And, you know, Buffalo at that point was battling the clock, too.
Absolutely battling the clock. And the Steelers, again, were beneficiaries of pass interference. How many times did we see last year, Bob, where Ben would just throw it up to Chase Claypool and the flag was thrown? That was one of their biggest playmakers and chain movers is pass interference, and that happened today with Chase Claypool, and it happened a couple other times, and it worked to their advantage in the second half.
I thought Claypool had one of his best catches along the sidelines right here against Tre'Davious White, who's an all-pro player. Look at that. He had to go up, high point it. Beautiful play. And, boy, you know, he came on the scene quickly last year as a rookie, second-year player. I don't know how high the bar is for him, but you can imagine people expect big things from number 11.
Well, you heard this on TV that Ben said he could be a top 3 receiver in the NFL, and he has all the gifts. And he's a special player. If Ben can just get the ball to him, you saw in the first half, he didn't even touch the ball. Second half, they made it a priority to go right at Chase Claypool, and it benefited them.
It did. Juju Smith-Schuster came up with some big plays when he needed to, more possession kind of stuff from him. And overall, they brought in J.C. Hassenauer, and this is underrated move, I thought, because Kendrick Green was getting bull rush. He was having his issues in the first half. Mike Tomlin took him out and put Hassenauer in to start the second half. I thought it was a good thing, sort of a calming influence on that O-line.
Yeah, and you saw that this week in practice where J.C. Hassenauer was practicing a little bit, so you thought that could happen. And what happens a little bit when you bring a guy in and put the starter down for a few series in a game, it gets that guy an ability to relax and calm down, but also be a little motivated, Bob, because you don't want to lose that spot. So he comes back out, he's more focused, and he runs with a hotter engine.
He did, and he was back in the game, and he played much better after that. So Mike Tomlin in that situation pulled all the right buttons there, and as a result, the Steelers go in a second half that I don't think anyone thought would happen based on what we saw the first half. But again, the defense to me was the triggering mechanism for this comeback. If they don't play the way they did in the first half, they were on the field an awful lot, Chris.
They were.
This game could have been out of hand, and therefore there would be no second half comeback. Too many points down, but that defense is really good. And Melvin Ingram may be the best bargain in free agency this year based on you got him for $4 million. He is an all-pro player, a guy who can certainly help. And, you know, you got 3 outstanding edge rushers now.
Melvin Ingram was, to me, a story of this game. He didn't have a sack, but he provided constant pressure throughout this game. And you're right, the defense stood tall all game. Who, in the local media and national media, Bob, said the Steelers were able to slow down this Buffalo Bills offense? I mean, last year they averaged over 30 points a game. Today, 16 points.
Mike Tomlin is at the podium right now. We're going to take you live into Highmark Stadium in Buffalo for his post-game comments.
We knew what type of day we were going to have here today from an environmental standpoint, in terms not only just in terms of the crowd, but you know the many new pieces we had on offense, young guys and so forth. We didn't start great. Obviously, we gave up a kickoff to start the game off. I thought the defense's ability to kind of quell that and hold them to 3 was significant. But we faced a lot of challenges today, man. Robert Spillane got hurt in warm-ups. You know, we had to make a last-second adjustment. Buddy Johnson got an opportunity to play in his first NFL game. He didn't even anticipate doing so. And so it's a great team victory, man. I'm appreciative of their efforts. Hopefully it's a sign of what we're capable of from a will standpoint. But obviously, one weekend is not going to write your story. It's just good to come in an environment against an AFC giant, if you will, defending AFC East champs, and get a win in September. Just really thankful for it. And don't have a lot of details about the status of health. I'm sure we got bumps and bruises associated with play. We played a lot of people today. We rolled a lot of people. We knew we had to, particularly on defense. You know, we figured that we might not have great fluidity on offense in terms of starting, and so we couldn't allow our defense to wear down. I can't say enough about the number of people that we played up front and the way that they collectively got after them. You know, those 3 edge guys, those 3 edge guys that you guys been asking a lot about, Watt and Highsmith and Ingram, they delivered today, along with others, obviously Cam Heyward and so forth. So just really thankful to get a win. We'll enjoy this today, and then we'll turn our attention toward our next competition. Questions?
Like the 4th down stuff that Sutton had in the backfield, was that something that you guys had seen in the past from them, or was that just
No, it was just something that we anticipated. They had gotten in that structure a bunch 4 or 5 times in the preseason and just giving the dive to the fullback. So we figured that would be the next phase of it, to fake that dive to the fullback and flip that ball out there to them. And so we talked about it, but you can't take anything away from Cam Sutton. I think is the guy that made the play, just a really aware play and big-time football play.
Mike, how do you feel the offense progressed as it did?
We're not worried about style points. We'll let you guys write whatever stories you want to write, man. We knew it would be tough sledding. They got a great defense. They got continuity not only in players but schematics. We were playing them in their place. We had a bunch of new pieces. We weren't style point oriented today. We just had to win this game.
Mike, what did you like about the way that Diontae Johnson came back after getting hurt in the first half and then had that great touchdown catch in the second?
He's a competitor. They all are. That's just part of the adversity that the game presents, man. Sometimes it comes in the form of ebb and flow in terms of the game. Sometimes it's physical discomfort and so forth. There are a lot of guys that push through a lot of things in an effort to deliver the victory.
Block punt, the scheme, or was that an individual play or both?
6 or half a dozen, man. I'm appreciative of the efforts of Miles, I think, who had the block, and UG, who had the scoop and score. We needed a splash play like that. Like I mentioned, we spotted them 3 to start the game. And so, at halftime, I heard a lot of the core special teams players, Derek Watt and others, saying that we had to even the score from that perspective. We needed splash in that phase of the game. And, boy, they delivered, and delivered big.
Mike, how would you characterize what your defense was able to do today in limiting Josh Allen?
We just played Steeler D. We respect Josh Allen. We respect their group, their challenging group. But, I got an expectation that our defensive unit is going to be in every football game like that. And I'm just being bluntly honest with you.
Mike, you kicked a couple short field goals, got on some short things. How difficult is it to stay patient with coaching-wise when you know it?
When you're playing good defense, those decisions are easier.
Anyone else?
Yes. All right. Yes. Did you see on the block punt? Was it something that you guys saw on film? That the kicker, that Hoke is.
It's always both. It's always scheme and individual player effort. It just is, and whatever it is you're talking about.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
We're not in this for style points. We're in it to win it. And that's pretty much summed up the offense today. And, again, when you're dealing with so many young players, 4 rookies, I thought Pat Freiermuth came up with a nice play down the middle of the field for 24 yards. You got Dan Moore, it's baptism by fire, folks. It's as simple as that. Went back into rookie season. It's eye-opening, isn't it?
Man, listen, when you're a rookie and you're going out, the things are happening so fast. They started 5 rookies today. Trey Norwood on the defensive side because they came out in that nickel defense. That's the first time since 1981, I believe, that they started 5 rookies in one game in opening day. And it's just unbelievable how they came out there and they played and they battled their butts off and they came out with this victory on the road, like I said earlier, where the Bills only lost 1 game last year, and that was to the Kansas City Chiefs.
It's a great start for the Steelers. They'll come home to take on the Las Vegas Raiders next week. First of 2 in a row. We talked, Chris, in the past about how this season's important. Start strong because the schedule does get tougher as the year goes on. We'll talk more about that. And by the way, do you all approve of Chris clean shaven? There's no hair? There's no facial hair?
I turned 45 years old this year. I had to turn back the clock and look younger. That's why I had to shave it off.
It looks good. I think so. Let us know what you think, or not. Texting at HoagieBro76. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have more from Buffalo. We'll have post-game reaction. We'll check in with Rich Walsh, who predicted the Steelers would win this game today. We'll talk to him. We'll also take your calls on a special edition of the Sports Call. It's all coming up live right here on Pittsburgh CW.
Welcome back to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
All right, welcome back as we continue live right here. Bob Pompeani and Chris Hoke with you. You heard Mike Tomlin talk about what he expects from this defense, and I think we all came to that conclusion that those, front 7 especially, are going to be after teams all season long. Barring injury, this team should be in most every game. Yeah. It just depends on how it goes with offense, and if they can establish more of a run game, I think what you saw from the past game gives you hope that this could be a pretty dynamic offense.
Absolutely. You look at it, the pressure they got off the edge from T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith and Melvin Ingram, and then up the middle from Cam Heyward, they were able to drop guys and be able to drop 7 defenders in coverage, and they were able to still get pressure on the quarterback. That's going to help this defense tremendously, because if you have to blitz, Bob, to get pressure on the quarterback, it puts people on an island. But this way, you can defend, you could double team and bracket people. It's going to help this defense tremendously.
So how about right off the bat, T.J. Watt comes in, he gets 2 sacks in his first game, another tackle for a loss. He had a strip sack, a forced fumble. So, people wondered what he would do as far as being effective. Well, there you go. He's a player who doesn't need much. He was there as part of an agreement with the team. We learned that he would be there, but he was not going to practice until he got the deal he wanted. And, Chris, I want to get your take on how he got that deal, because apparently his agency pretty much said, hey, we can get more. He pretty much said, no, I like where I am. I like the money there. He is the top paid defensive guy at the moment. That will change like they all do. But a pretty good move that, it's his life. He should make the determination, not agents.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what happens, right? We've seen in the past, we won't name names, of guys who are influenced by their agents and their inner circle. T.J. Watt understood what he had here in the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he said, I need to take this contract. And T.J. Watt, listen, this guy understands that he can have a tremendous impact on one of the premier teams in the NFL, and that he can be here for a long time and be an all-time great, and he's learned from what individuals have done in the past.
Yes, and Alex Highsmith's a guy who can take off after him, too. The loss of Bud Dupree was a big one. I thought, especially when he got injured last year, because that coupled with Devin Bush, Vince Williams gets out with a COVID, Spillane gets injured. All of a sudden, there's nothing in the middle, and that contributed to what you saw in the second half of the season, too, as well as mistakes by the offense. But by and large, Highsmith looks like a guy who's got a big motor, too, in his second year. Boy, they got a lot of young guys who they're relying on. That's what's changed a lot in the NFL, Chris. Take me back to when you were younger starting out. It seemed like rookies were not expected to come in and have an impact. You had to sort of learn, be on the bench a few years, get acclimated. Not anymore.
And it seems like guys are able to contribute much quicker. You even think back to Troy Polamalu, his first year, how much he struggled, learning the defense, and other guys when I was younger. And even when I came in, it was very difficult to move forward and play as a rookie. These guys are coming in, and they're much more prepared to make an impact in year one.
Cam Sutton is now at the podium. He had a big play on 4th and 1. That triggered the comeback. Let's go to hear what he had to say.
4th and short. Some things that we obviously practice scenarios that we've seen obviously throughout the week. That's something that not necessarily that play, but kind of just getting a feel for the sense of the game. Obviously they put some fullback belly on tape. Early in the year and obviously last year and over the years. And then, just kind of, recognizing the play, trying to get a speed guy out in space, while everybody's crashed down in the middle, and just able to read and react, get to him before he gets started, and just made a play.
That was a significant play, Cam. That was a significant play.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, everybody's just locked in, They were pacing us throughout the game, good job of tempos, running tempo, slowing the tempo down, kind of seeing what we're in, playing the game. That's the best part about it, the chess match within the game. And, they did a great job of holding looks, disguising guys, moving guys around. We did a good job on our end of communicating, lining up, getting after everybody on that side, on their side of the ball. And we just played full 60 minutes today. I'm really proud of our guys, all around, all 3 levels. Young guys and old. We got a lot of veteran guys. We got a lot of young guys that played today, got some reps. And I was really excited to see those guys go out there competing and for us to come out with a win, a big win.
Did that play give you guys some juice? Did that really maybe turn this game, that play that you mentioned?
I wouldn't say that specific play. We had over the course of the game, we had a lot of good plays. And that's just the fight. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Everything's not going to be always a positive out there. And it's all about how you battle. You know what I mean? Guys are going to catch the ball. Guys are going to score touchdowns, whatever it is. But we're going to keep coming.
You know what I mean? TJ didn't surprise you what he did today?
Not at all. You know what I mean? Obviously, we know that guy's motor. We know how hard he works each and every day. The energy that he brings each and every day. His presence is always felt. Regardless of him being with us the whole time, leading up until this moment. And you just see how hungry he was to come out here and continue to showcase the things that he's been putting on.
So you were going back and forth to you guys using nickel. You were out on the edge. Sometimes you like to slot. Any rhyme or reason to just kind of rotate different people?
Yeah, just the tricks and trades of the game. Matchups, like I said, Buffalo Bills are, as we already know, a high-powered offense. Like I said, they got a lot of weapons on that side of the ball. They got a lot of guys that can go, a lot of interchangeable pieces. And obviously on our side, like I said, we got guys on our end, speaking for us, that can match up and play as well too. So we just had to stand up and fight. Like I said, you had that up and down battle, of course, of 60 minutes. But, like I said, everybody's locked in. Everybody's communicating on and off the field, talking about things we're seeing out there on the field. And, when you got guys that camaraderie like that, guys are really playing for each other. Guys are for each other, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. Like I said, we play very well.
All right, that's Cam Sutton, one of the big players on defense today, no question. He had that 4th and 1 well-diagnosed play that you heard Mike Tomlin. It came from film study. They knew what that bunch formation was and what they were going to do, and they went and progressed through it. Sutton makes a very smart play. He also had a defense down the field on a 4th and 8 play earlier that Buffalo failed on. So he was there big time for him.
And you can go through each one of those defensive backs, Bob, and say, I remember when they made a play. James Pierre made a play today. Joe Hayden popped that ball out on that fumble on that tackle. You talk about Mika Fitzpatrick making a big tackle and made it 4th and 1 where they were able to come up with a stop, I believe, on the next play. And you can go down the list of times when these players stepped up in the defensive backfield and made play after play after play. They made it very difficult for Josh Allen to connect on any passes.
Yeah, it really did. And they shut it down when they had to after falling behind, keeping them in the game. The offense took over in the second half. We'll talk about Ben Roethlisberger's day and how it improved as the game went on. That's when we continue live here on Pittsburgh CW. We got you going until 6 o'clock, 23-16 your final score today. Steelers win. We have your calls coming up and more post-game reaction, all right here on our Extra Point Show.
Welcome back to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
Down with the JP Roofing final stats, Chris, and you can see that Buffalo early on had a huge first down advantage. The Steelers really cut into that as this game went on. Overall, not the numbers you want. I think these numbers will get better, but Buffalo had 8 penalties. I thought they had 18. That 10 weren't called.
Yeah,
a lot of holding.
There are a lot of holding penalties, and a lot weren't called. But what stands out to me here is 0 turnovers. The one interception Ben threw was called back for holding by Tre'Davious White. And you look at this right now, if Ben and the offense can limit the turnovers, you know the defense is going to take the ball away from the opposing offense, and that's a win right there.
There's no question. That was a badly thrown pass, I thought, because he was on his, running out of the pocket, just trying to dump. But, bottom line is you got a break on that one. And when you don't turn it over, you tend to win games. We saw that last year. It was a pick 6 right before halftime at the Bills game.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be killer. The time they played them before, there were 4 interceptions in that game. So minimizing that obviously is something that they have to do. Let's talk about Najee Harris as we wait for Ben Roethlisberger to take the podium, because first game, and it wasn't easy. There's no question. You got a line that was being overwhelmed at times at the beginning. But I think the fact that he has that ability to even create yards when there aren't many there will bode well as the season rolls on.
There's no question about it. And that's one of his strengths and why the Steelers draft him, because when there isn't anything there, he's able to find a way to get positive yardage. I mean, in the first half, Bob, he was 7 carries for 8 yards, 1.1 average. Second half, he ended up 16 for 45 for 2.8 average. That's a much better second half. I think he'll be better in the run and the pass game. Ben overthrew him a couple times. There was one check down where Ben and Najee were on the same page, but that will improve, and you'll see his game and him take off a little more as the weeks go on.
Yeah, I think that could have been a touchdown right there. It was over his head a little bit. He couldn't gather it in. But we saw in the preseason the one pass play where he broke it down the sidelines, against Detroit and just turned what looked like nothing into a 51-yard gain. And in the passing game, surely he will become more part of that. But I want to see them get more to the run game. I thought they'd start, even if they were running into walls at the beginning, Chris, I thought they would start with more of a commitment to the run. And I think as this season progresses, you're going to see more of that commitment and more of a, not 50-50 balance, but 60-40 balance, pass versus run.
And they need to stick with the run, because Ben's is not a pocket passer, sit there and throw the ball 45, 50 times in a game. And I remember when Coach Cowher used to always say, when I was a young Steeler with Jerome Bettis, we're going to run in the first quarter, we're in the second quarter. We might not get positive yardage, but in the third and fourth, we're going to break their backs and move the ball. And they're going to do that with Najee Harris this year.
Diontae Johnson left the game early with an injury, came back, made a beautiful toe tap for a touchdown. He's at the podium right now.
The toughness that some guys had to battle through, you included. What happened when you went down on the field, and were you confident that you'd be able to come back in the game later?
I just kind of got tied up in play or whatnot, knee looked banged up or whatever, but I'm fine. Just came back in the game and helped the team win and whatnot. So.
How much confidence does your offense get from coming back the way all of you did?
Say it again?
How much confidence does your offense get from what you did in the second half?
It showed once we scored or whatnot, and the turnover came over to the defensive side, and we got the block punt. Everybody was just playing as one, and it showed, and we was able to come out with the win.
Diontae,
last one here.
Last time you came in here, it wasn't one of your best nights. What does it mean to you to do what you did tonight and put your team ahead of
it was a big game for me. I know I had to come back and bounce back from last year, like you said, or whatnot. But I was able to do that, make my plays and whatnot, and help the team win. That's what I'm happy about.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that was quick. He went in, he said what he had to do, and that's it. We're waiting for Ben Roethlisberger. But, we talked about Diontae Johnson, who led the NFL in drops last year. He made a concerted effort in the offseason to get better, to concentrate. He brought in a tennis machine, not a football jugs machine, a tennis machine, smaller target, he said, so he can just figure out how to grab the tennis ball as opposed to a football. And he figured if he did that well, then the football would be no problem. Well, today he didn't drop anything.
Yeah, and when you have that small tennis ball, you have to focus a little more, right? And it's a hand-eye coordination. And you saw today where his focus lasted longer in that touchdown catch.
All right, Chris, every time you talk, somebody new comes to the podium. We got TJ Watt, the $80 million guaranteed man, speaking right now.
No, I felt really fresh. And I think I kind of said that this week. I felt fresh all week and never wanted to get too confident with how I felt because I didn't know coming into a game atmosphere and obviously all the hype and adrenaline that comes with it. But the three-man rotation that we have with Alex and Melvin is something that's going to be really special. And we're a very unselfish group, and that's why I'm looking forward to playing with both of them.
TJ, how would you characterize what you guys were able to do on defense today, especially limiting Josh Allen the way you guys did?
Yeah, I don't want to say a dominant performance because obviously there's still a lot left on the table, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of film to watch and make corrections, but I'm very happy with where we are, especially week one. Like I said, I love playing with this group. We fly around. We handle adversity really well.
How pivotal was that fourth down stop midfield in Cam Sutton?
Huge. I think the play before it was I came up and under the tackle I shouldn't have, and Minka came down like a missile from the middle of the field and made it 4th and 1. So just plays like that were happening all day where I'm so excited to get back and watch the film because there's tremendous plays like that all over. And then Cam Sutton made a tremendous play on that 4th and 1 as well to give the ball back to our offense.
What about the significance of holding them to 3 after they opening kickoff?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, anytime we as a defense can help the offense as much as we possibly can, and then towards the end of the game you see the special teams get involved too, it was truly a 3-phase win today.
What was that like when you go off after getting the 6-yard sack, and then you turn around and see the block punt, and you guys celebrating in the end zone?
That's huge, man. I like to say the adrenaline and all that started with 44 getting the tackle on the kickoff. He was all hyped up. He got me hyped up, and then obviously the sack, and then. Like I said, this game, especially when we're on the road, it's all about momentum and playing with the momentum and going with the ebbs and flows of football. And we did a really good job of feeding off each other. And when one group wasn't doing so hot, another group stepped up. So it was a complete football game for us.
Everything this week and all the positive sentiment that you expressed about the Steelers, does that make this weekend and what just happened today feel that much more special?
1-0 always feels special.
TJ, you got, I think, 4 holding penalties called against you. There's a changed standard there, I guess, this year. Do you feel like you guys are getting held more often than usual or just called differently?
No comment.
You guys went in there, closed the atmosphere, and was there anybody who kind of had a rally cry to keep you guys play like you guys did?
No, we're professionals. There is no guys hanging their heads. We know that we needed to make adjustments. We made those adjustments. We came out in the second half and we executed.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, TJ Watt coming after the new deal and a productive day with 2 sacks, a tackle for a loss. You also got a forced fumble in there. Think about the Steelers. They've come out of their comfort zone of late, I mean, they traded a number 1 pick for Minka Fitzpatrick. Not many people thought they would do that. They hadn't done it for 50-plus years. And now 3 years of guaranteed money for TJ Watt. That bodes well for Minka Fitzpatrick if he has a big year.
And you talk about comfort zone. That's way out of the comfort zone of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you look at today, and I still don't think he's in prime shape yet. Of course, nobody is at this early point of the season. 2 sacks, and you look at how many times he had his tackle beat and the guard was waiting for him. He was getting chipped by the tight end or chipped by the back coming out. He was getting held, and he still had 2 sacks today. They're going to start, those flags are going to come for him. More holding penalties are going to come, and he's going to have a greater impact than he had today. It's scary to think.
It is scary to think. If you're another team, look out. They can come at you at both sides with a lot of production. We're going to take a break. When we come back, you're going to hear from 97, Cam Heyward, who I thought was outstanding, especially early in this game when they needed it. 23-16 your final score. Steelers off to a 1-0 start coming home for the next 2 weeks. They have a chance to really load up here with the Raiders next Sunday. We'll be back with more right here on our postgame show on Pittsburgh CW.
Welcome back to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
Welcome back. As we continue, a reminder, we'll be taking your calls coming up pretty soon at 412-575-2600. You can also tweet us at KDPomp at HokeyBro76. Steelers win 23-16. They were 6.5-point underdogs, and yet here they are, 1-0 to start the season at a place not many people thought they could win. Josh Allen was not what I think a lot of people expected right off the bat. You know, he got the new $258 million deal, but he was off on a lot of his passes today.
He was off on a lot of his passes, and I believe it started from the very first play. Melvin Ingram was all over him, and there was constant pressure. He was never comfortable in the pocket, and so he started to force throws down the field in places that there was no daylight. And also, you look at the running plays that worked for him a lot. Even though his numbers looked good at 4.9 yard average, it didn't look well. The Steelers did a great job of shutting down and bottling him up.
Ben Roethlisberger is at the podium right now following a win for the Steelers in a big second half where he went 12 for 20. Let's go there now.
Feel a little, I know you feel any pressure or feel like, okay, we're going to try and gear it up there in a second.
First off, great shirt and tie.
Thank you very much.
We anticipate that a little bit, right? The bumps in the roads that the offense are going to have, newness, the kind of stability. What we expect is our defense to carry us. Told them that afterwards. Appreciated their efforts, appreciated what they do, not losing faith in us. There's going to be other times throughout this year that they're going to have to carry us, and there might be times where we have to carry the. You don't know. This was a team win, offense, defense, special teams, and that's what I think I'm most proud about.
And I know you don't like to make excuses, but was the wind causing any problems out there?
The wind was a factor, but it was not an excuse. It was different.
What was the biggest change? What created the progress that you guys experienced in the second half? What was the change?
I think guys just settling in. We had a lot of first-timers out there, and that's a hostile place. Those fans are awesome. They were loud. It was very, very loud. Pat grabbed me afterwards, like, "Holy cow, it's loud out there." I said, "Yeah, that's welcome to the NFL." And so, a lot of environmental factors, and that's fans, that's weather, that's a really good defense, a good team, and you know what? I'm proud of the guys because they didn't really. I hate to use a Coach Tomlin, they didn't blink, right? They stood up in the face of not playing well early. We didn't make the big mistake either. That was huge. We didn't make a big mistake early. We didn't do what we wanted to do, but we didn't turn the ball over. We didn't do anything catastrophic. So the fact that you come in at halftime, it wasn't like there was a big rah-rah. No one really spoke and acted crazy. It was just, okay, this is what we're going to do in the second half. Let's go do it.
Ben, what did you see on the touchdown to Diontae, and what kind of growth have you seen from him from last year here? He got benched because of drops. For him to come back and have that score, what have you seen?
He's a phenomenal football player. He's a guy that is an incredible talent. Very scared when he went down early on. Luckily, I think he'll be okay. He's one of those guys, you get the ball in his hand and just sit back and watch it. And we knew what the call was. Told him to be patient because sometimes he can get impatient with the double move route, and he did. And his ball skills are through the roof. The ball kind of got tipped up, and he was still able to catch and get 2 feet in. Just awesome.
Ben, that final drive, 5 minutes left, I guess two-quarter. Was there some RPOs in there for you in that final drive? Number 2 is. It seemed like that's where you had your most confidence in that last 5 minutes. Do you feel the same?
There were a lot of RPOs in there, almost all of them. And we anticipated them to sell out to stop the run. And so we had some different looks. I thought Juju made a great catch. Chase made a great catch. Diontae got a huge – you hate that play to Diontae down the sideline where it's potential touchdown, but it's only a hold. And it's 5 yards. But proud of the way that we finished the game, but not satisfied because we should have stayed on the field, right? We should stay on the field and use all the clock. So told the guys good job, but not good enough at the end of the game. And so we did use up enough clock. We got some first downs. We did what we needed to do, but we'd like to finish it on the field.
And I know it's only one game, but that sounded like a pretty raucous locker room. How significant was what you did there?
Well, like I said, guys understand what would just happen. I mean, we played a really good football team. They returned a lot of players. It was really good last year, and it wasn't looking pretty early. but we persevered. We fought through it, and we found a way to win. So, guys are excited.
Ben, we talked a lot about new offense, new play calls, new verbiage, new voice in your ear. How are the mechanics of everything today?
I thought it went well. It's definitely different not coming to the sideline and having the coordinator there to speak to and have to talk through Coach Sully. But, overall, I thought it went really well.
Given the vote of given what happened to TJ and the fact that, he got that big deal just in the nick of time, just what he did on the field today to really wreck the game in two key areas, two key plays.
Were you surprised?
No.
Me either. I don't think anybody else was. Just shows that the preseason's overrated, right?
What's it say about him to know that, he faced all this, a bit of adversity?
Right, yeah. I heard what you're saying. He was here every day.
Right.
That gives I give TJ credit for that. He didn't have to be. He was here every day. He worked every day. And we expect that from him. He expects that from himself. And so, he didn't, his conditioning was good. He wreaks havoc on an offense. And that's why he should be, and he is the highest paid, should be the highest paid player on defense.
Ben, you mentioned plays made by all three phases. How much did each group feed off the other?
Well, it's huge. Obviously offense, we didn't do much in the first half, if anything. Defense kept us in it. And then you start talking second half. It felt like we were able to stay on the field a little bit more, give our defense a break. I think that's always big for them to take a break. And then obviously the block punt for a touchdown. I mean, goodness gracious. The special teams touchdowns are huge. Danny Smith, awesome job.
And several points, you have 4 rookies on the field. Are they past being rookies, or do they still feel like rookies to you?
Well, you know what? This is pretty special considering some of those guys, including like Chase Claypool, has never played in front of fans. Really, right? Even second-year guys. This is a new environment, and it's a hostile environment. These fans are awesome. And so, what I like the best is that guys didn't blink. I hate it. It's ingrained in our head. But, they just kept playing. Even when things weren't going well, guys, I never saw, I told Coach Thomas, I never saw in the huddle guys like kind of panic. I never saw guys, oh man, what are we going to do? Guys weren't even the fake, like, let's go, like trying to and get themselves hyped up. It was pretty even the whole time, and I think that was great.
What about your line?
I thought they played well. I mean, first game against a really good defense. It was loud. It was really loud. And so I don't know numbers. It doesn't matter because we won. But I'm proud of them.
Was there a point in the game where you felt like the line kind of settled down, maybe after some iffy things early with the rookies out there trying to get adjusted to everything?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of settled down a little bit at halftime. And I think, it's more than just them. All of us need to settle down, myself included. I haven't been hit in 6-7 months, whatever it's been. So, we all had to settle down a little bit, and I'm glad they did, and I'm proud of them.
You had
Guys, 2 more.
You had those 3 trips very deep in the red zone, and didn't get touched on the third one. Do you feel like you did anything different, or was it just better execution?
We saw they gave us a little bit different look than we thought down there the first couple times down, but either way, we didn't make the big mistake. We didn't score the touchdown like we want to, which could have been game changers. You always want to score touchdowns down there, but we got the points when we needed them, and we'll learn from it.
And one of your former teammates was asked about people sleeping on his team. People have recently been talking about the Ravens and the Browns. So what do you say to people sleeping on your team?
I mean, it's whatever. I don't care. It's fine.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right, that's Ben Roethlisberger after, again, a second half, which featured 12 for 20, some big-time passes in critical situations. And I thought he made a great point about playing. Some of those guys have never played in front of you. You forget about that. There were no fans last year.
That's a big deal, too, playing in front of fans and being able to deal with all of that pressure and the excitement and adrenaline. That adds another element of focus and concentration.
We're going to take a break here. When we come back, you're going to hear from Cam Heyward, and then soon we'll be taking your calls to get your take on this game and what it means moving forward. Right here live on Pittsburgh CW following a 23-16 Steelers win. Impressive in the second half for sure. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
All right, welcome back here as we are about to take some phone calls. But before we do that, Cam Heyward, who was really good today, number 97, and he's repping some old school, if you'll see on his T-shirt here, right?
That's right. That's right. I think he's a fan of Jack Lambert.
I think so. Yeah. And he played like Jack Lambert today.
It was a quality win. Versus a great offense. The last 2 times we've played them, we haven't had our best game, but it's one win. We're happy we got the win, but we've got to go down 16.
Did you feel pressure with 4 guys today? When you guys do that, it makes your defense pretty.
Yeah, I think so. We stress getting 4-man pressure. You can't just rely on your blitzes. You got to be able to mix it up. When we're hitting home with 4-man, that makes us a hard team to beat.
Did you feel the pass rush kind of dictating what they were able to do? You get the 4 holding penalties, as mentioned early in the first half, and they kind of went to a shorter passing.
Yeah, we feel like we have quality rushers inside and out. And when we get those opportunities, we feel like we got to succeed. Our back end does an amazing job, kept the lid on everything. And when we have that going from the back end to the front end, it's pretty nice to see.
Cam, how much momentum did you feel like the entire team was getting from some of those 4th down stops?
4th down, and then, those turnovers were huge for us. One turnover. But, we looked at those like turnovers, and we looked for us to capitalize on them. We practice all week. We know what we're looking at. It comes down to execution. Even when we gave up the touchdown in the first half, we were like, damn, we were right there. We felt good about it. And we were able to adjust and keep going.
What about TJ today? Everything he's been through and this week, and for him to come out without.
He's fine. No, but, he's had a heck of a week, but, not everybody can do what he does. And, for him to go out there and handle the way he handled and, capitalize on it with a win like this, pretty proud of him. I know it wasn't always pretty for him, and he wanted to be out there with us, but it got done. Everybody's happy, and then you get to capitalize with a W on top of it.
What's it say about?
Yes, they did. And think about that defensive line. They got guys I think are begging to get in there, like Isaiah Loudermilk, a 5th-round pick. He didn't get on the field, but Stephon Tuitt's out.
Yeah.
So bottom line is they still can get better in that department.
As well as they played today, they're going to be even better when Stephon Tuitt gets on the field. And you think about it right now, they played a lot of guys. You didn't say Isaiah Buggs played till in the 4th quarter. I didn't see him out there. Carlos Davis was one of the guys that rotated in there because he's a really good pass rusher. And so now you have Cam Heyward, you have Tyson Alualu, you have Carlos Davis, you had Worley coming in. And now you can bring Tuitt in here, hopefully in the next few weeks, to really solidify that group and bring it to an elite level.
All right, we're going to take now a look at the Ford road ahead. What's up next for the Steelers? Of course, today, the win with Buffalo. Then they have 2 home games back-to-back. The Raiders coming here. Interesting, Chris, because the Raiders play on Monday night against the Ravens. So they're going to have a very short week, 2 physical teams to start the season.
A big physical game against the Ravens on Monday Night Football, and then to turn around and play 6 days later here in Pittsburgh. And an early game for them, right? It's 10 o'clock for them.
Right.
So it's a tough turnaround there.
And then the Cincinnati Bengals, who, by the way, were winners today at home. And Joe Burrow, 27-24 against Minnesota, not only threw 2 touchdown passes, he also rushed for 2. So he counted for 4 scores. Everybody wondered about his health. He's ready to go. And then Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. All those games on KDKA TV. So we're going to be busy here to start. And what a great way to kick it off. So overall, pretty good day at the office, huh?
Pretty good day at the office. And looking ahead here, right, you have 2 more AFC games coming back to back. You got to win those games because they're going to matter in December.
Absolutely. Tiebreakers come in, and it's a 17-game season, too, so it's a long year, it's a long way to go. But it's off to a good start. After a bad first half, the Steelers recover to win 23-16. And now we ask you to call us at 412-575-2600. Again, you can hook us up on Twitter at KDPomp, at HokeyBro76. Hope to be joined with Rich Walsh here as well as he's out of the locker room, and we'll get some calls on the way on a special edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on Pittsburgh CW. It's all coming up next. Thank you for joining us. Your calls next.